I hope my screen is visible enough on your end.
Yes, it is.
Okay. So to those who were not with us yesterday and those who have managed to join early today, yesterday we looked at statistical functions, and I don't know whether you have taken time to do some practice. Today we are going to look at lookup and reference functions. We shall look at the text functions, then we shall tackle a bit on the logical functions. I will recommend that team every time we go through anything on a session, you can always go back and do a proofread, or you do a detailed reading about those functions or the session or what the topic we shall have done in the session. Because these sessions are basically pointing at the practical base of it. We may not do much on the theory, and actually you have noted out that I'm not going in details of definitions, what I'm looking directly on how can you use this, how can you do this, because that's how the sessions were planned. We are looking more on the practical bit of it than the theory bit of it. So that's why you may not see me perusing through notes. I know I have many slides I can do, but we are not in that mode of the session. So yesterday I didn't talk about it. I thought like we can start off with that. So today we are going to look at the lookup preferences. Most of it we are used to VLOOKUP. I know HLOOKUP is rarely used, but we shall just have a glimpse on it. Then after VLOOKUP, we shall talk about what's the meaning of index and match. You may not apply them very much because the top one, VLOOKUP and XLOOKUP, they swallow index and match. Then in direct, this one we may skip it for the time being, not until we reach around pivot table, or where we shall be looking at named ranges. I will talk about it at that point. That may be another session. Okay.
Leo, please
Leo,
mute.
please mute. Whoever is not presenting,
Leo,
please mute.
Leo,
we are not.
Then after that, we shall look at the text functions, which is interesting, and we use it on a daily. It is after then when I will tackle a bit of the logical functions. Then we shall only remain with one, that is the date and time functions, which we shall do first session next week, because this one needs a full session on its own, because it is so much crucial in every report you run. There will always be a date or a time bit of a timestamp which you deal with. So we shall do a lot on that in its own session. So I am going to start with, I don't know whether Susan, you organized some data we can use, but at the moment, still I will use data I have. But in case the team needs to use the data they are used to, because when we talk about the materials, people understand exactly what is going on than when I do naming. So, Susan, do we use the sheet we used yesterday?
Yes, I think
Yeah.
and use the one we used yesterday.
Okay, thank you. Let me pick it up here. I will download one. So hope you all have access to this. I know logistics may have access, but I'm not sure whether procurement have. But Susan will go ahead and give access to everyone who feels needs access to.
I shared whoever has an invite for this call.
Yes.
So
Yes, personally I have.
Okay.
whoever doesn't have can let me know.
Okay. So I'm getting another file we can use for today. We shall use the same data, we shall just be tweaking it. This stuff was for yesterday, so the major thing I want to remain with is the raw data. Then we can start off. Okay. Now, starting off with we are starting off with the text functions. Let's first zero off the text functions as people join, then we shall go to the lookup. Now, the text functions where we have the left, the mid, the right, the len, the trim. Let's look at how do we deal with that. So here we go. Now, anything always, when you feel like you don't know how it starts, you always go to formulas. So when you go to formulas to text functions, you'll find the text functions here. So we are going to look at these first ones, then I will also hint on the others, how they operate. So we shall start with the left. So I will pick something from this table. Let's pick this commentary we put in, what can we pick here? Let me take our carriers as yesterday. And so still I can get off the duplicate such that I remain with so now the first thing, if you are told to get the first 4 letters or the first 5 letters of every name, so or you're told to get the last letters of a name, or you're supposed to trim something.
Sabit, please expand.
Okay.
Some of us are struggling. Thank you.
Here you go. So when we are, let's do left. Left 4 characters. So if you are told to pick 4 characters of each, let's do 3 because I see leeway who may not have the 4, but we shall cater for that. If you are told to have 3 names or 3 letters from every name, I know someone will say that I can type one by one, but I'm also going to show you that how it is used in Excel. It is called autofill. So here you'll use the left function. The left function, its purpose is always to pick for you what is on the left of every string. When I talk about a string, that is both characters and numerals. So I will do left. Then the next thing on the syntax, they ask you for the text. So this is my text. Then they will ask you how many characters do you need? Then I will say I need 3 characters. The moment I close this, they are going to trim Shaka Company and they will give me SHA. So when I run this up to the bottom, every transporter will be trimmed. So you'll find that the left function is there always. I know you may ask yourself now, what is the purpose? How can I have to use this? We are going to see the purpose where you may need to use this. Then the same thing when we come to the right function. If they told you to pick 3 characters from the right, which means, but which may not give any purpose, you will say right, then this text, comma, the number of characters, let's say we need 3, and enter. So it will pick any 3 from the right. Here we go, right? Like this. So that is the purpose of using a left function and the right function. But where does it come in play? Now, where it comes in play when you're having to pick something from the middle, when you don't know how many characters you need. We shall look at that when we are to look at the mid. Now, mid means you're picking something from the middle. That's how I always explain it, not to go very far into the theory of definitions. So mid meaning that you need to pick something from the middle. So if I say equals to mid, now the syntax for mid, when you press, when you select the text, the next thing it will ask you, where do we start from? So it is up to you to give it the position where to start from. So if I say that you start from letter number 6, we have given it a start. Then how many characters do you need? I need, let's say, 4 characters. Then when I close this and enter, it is going to count up to letter number 6. So when you count here, Shaka, you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is Shaka. The space is number 6. Then it starts from here, gives you the 3.
Submit again on mid. Again on mid.
Mid is equal to mid. It helps you to pick any text in the middle. So when I use mid, it will ask me to select a text. Then after that, comma, it asks me, where should I start from? What is the starting number? I'm going to show you how we always tweak this to get the starting number. But for now, let's say we want to start from position number 6, right? Then comma, how many characters do you need? Then I will say I need 4 characters. Let me put 4. Close this. There we go. So it is giving, actually it is giving us the space. So when I run this down, you'll see for Shaka, we are counting. Shaka is 5, the space is the 6th. But we told it to start from position number 6, which means it starts with space, then it adds, a space is counted as a character in Excel. Then it adds the comma. When you come here to choose 3, so for it, it will count 5. It will count 6, the position. Q3 space, that is 3, HOL, that is 6. But we told it to start on position number 6, so it will start with LDIN. It will bring for you the 4. Now, the interesting bit on mid, how do we use mid? Mid, when it reaches to, there is another formula, I will say it is called find. So when you come to formulas and you come to text, there is a formula called find here. You see? Now, with mid, for it, you can use it to search for something in the middle. So if I say mid, then I click on text, comma, and they ask me, where should we start from? Then I ask Excel, please find, which means now I'm bringing in another formula. What do I want to find? What do I want to find? I want to find a space. So, or if you want to say, find M. So I will open quotes in Excel. When you are to put anything as a reference, as a text, you always open quotes for it. It is what we don't open quotes for, they are numerical number, they are numerals. So we are finding M. So which means wherever my formula finds M, that's where it is going to start from. Because I'm telling Excel, please find M. Then still I'm on find, within which text? Still within this same text. then I may not give it where to start from. That is an optional, which means now I've given my Excel where to start from. You get? And you see, when you select always a function that you have put, it will always give you an answer as a pop-up. So you'll see that they are giving me an answer as 9, which means when they count, they find M at 9. So then after that, we are going now to the number of characters. How many characters do we need? Let me say I need 2 characters, right? And close, which means now we have extended the mid function. We are giving it a command to find something we are looking for in the middle. So when it gets it, let it start from there, which means that when we don't find M anywhere, it will miss out that, or it will give us an error. So when I enter, it brings MP, which means it found M here and brought for me the 2 characters. Then when I drag this one down to fill down, you see that here it found MI. Here it found MI unlimited. Here it found MA on Mac. Then because here there was no M, it brought the error value. Even here there was no M, it brought the error value. Why am I saying there was no M? Because the M we used was capital, and here there is lowercase. Also, that is something to look into. So this is, sorry.
I request, okay, after this example, we start with, we start at 6 using the find at 6 for 3 characters. Okay. To see if it will match with E.
Okay, okay, I get it. So this is it. So Wandova is asking, we start at 6 and pick 3 characters. We pick 3 characters. So we shall still do equals to mid. We are picking something in the middle of the text, but here they're asking you, what is the text? We always have to note the syntax they give you. And the moment you don't see that syntax, there will always be a drop-down arrow. You'll click it, always you'll see the syntax coming at the bottom, such that it can redirect you. But when you have perfected those formulas, you can know what is next. So they're asking for us the text, which is this, comma. Where do we start from? We don't know. We want to find something. So you're saying we start at 6, yeah? Okay. You're saying the start should be 6. Then we pick 3 characters, right? Close, enter. So
no, use find.
Oh, use find. I use
find. Yes.
What are we finding? The question is, what are we finding?
Use find, taking into consideration that this time round it falls at the 6th character. I mean at the 6th, let's say letter, but using 3, getting us the 3 characters in the middle. Okay.
So, which means there we shall first count, because you're restricting it to a 6, which was already this space, and you need 3 characters.
Yes.
So, which means there I don't need to find, because I already know. You know why do we find? Actually, let me first use the find formula, the find function. Why do we find? So we find to get the position. So why do we find is equal to find is to get the position. So if I say find, what are we finding? Let's look for any character. Someone can choose a character. Then we prove out maybe what I'm trying to bring up to. So let's find C. I see C is common to all. So anything you're finding should always be in quotes if it is not a numeral. So comma, this is the text. And you may not need it to give it where to start from. When you're looking at the syntax, always when you find these square brackets, it means that this is optional. So we don't want to give it where to start from because we are telling it to find. So we shall close and enter. So it is giving us 7 because 7 is the position where they have found the first C. So when you count here, you'll find that this C is at 7, at 7th position. So when we drag this downwards, you'll find that wherever they have not found a C, they have brought for you an error. So here a C is at 19, which means this core. Here a C is at 6, this one. Here a C is at 17. So we put the find function in mid when we feel like we are looking for something where to start from. Then there are two scenarios we use two functions we use in mid. There is find and search. So when you go to the functions, text functions, you'll find there is a search function here. At some point, those who did English, find and search, they are different. Even Excel shows you that it has both of them distinct, meaning that at some point they are different. Let's try to search the same thing because we are going to be using both in the mid function. So using the search equals to search. Now search tells you, please find a function. We shall use the same thing. Then comma, what is the text? This is my text. The other one is option, close the brackets and enter. Still, it gives you the same thing. But now, this is, yeah, search for C. Okay. Now, can anyone tell me the difference between search and find? Before we go very far. When you look at the figures we have got, you see most of them are the same, but when we reach here, here we got an error, and here we got a number. Here we got, yeah, actually these ones are the ones which are distinct. Can anyone tell me the difference? Why find gave us an error and search has given us 5? Anyone? Okay, this is the difference. Do you understand? Someone has a hand up.
No, you may go ahead.
Okay, now.
I was saying, maybe the uppercase, the file is considered that.
Okay, though I think that is who is very far from his mic, but I understand what he was talking about the casing, the case sensitivity. Now, you see that when you use find is so much specific on what you gave it to search for. So since you told it to search for capital C, when it didn't find a capital C, automatically it gave you an error that we can't find that value. But search will always make sure that it modifies. If it doesn't find the uppercase, it will bring for you the lowercase. Now you check here that Kabako has lowercase. That's why we have a number coming through. You see here, Wateko has the lowercase. That's why we have a number coming through. I think we all get it now. That's the difference. Which means when I'm doing my daily analysis or picking data from wherever, where I feel like there may be case sensitivity, some upper, some lower, it is always healthy for me to use the search function than using the find function. I think we get it right. Okay, that one I think it is taken right. So the mid, we shall always use the mid with a combined function, either find or search. Even you'll find other functions you can always combine with mid, because when you come to the mid function, you'll find that it will ask you where to start from. Which number should we start from? So it is up to you whether to find the number or you know the number. So imagine I told you to, can we create some Ugandan numbers here? Ugandan phone numbers, like 07. 93933. So I can drag this one down. Random between this and yeah. So I'm creating some dummy values for numbers. We can copy. I'm just generating data. So let's assume these are phone numbers. I'm going to ask you a question that please, can you get for me the 6 last digits of a phone number, of everyone's phone number? Then we shall use that 6 last digits as a pin. Let's say you are in IT, you have created email addresses for, let's say 600 staff. And the first thing you're going to do, you're going to create for them passwords. But you want to create for them passwords such that you will pass a message once. Please, you're going to use your PIN as your last 4 digits of your phone number you gave maybe the company, or you submitted to the company, which means here now, that's where now our left, right, and mid functions come in, which means if we need the last 6 digits, we shall say equals to right, then click on this, and how many digits do we need from the right? 6, close, and there we go. So at the end of the day, you'll find that you have picked the 6 digits from everyone's phone number, which means if now you were creating Airtel numbers for the same people, it's just a matter of adding another code or a suffix of the Airtel number, then you submit to Airtel. We need these numbers customized for our staff. So that is one. Then if to pick something in the middle, or you have to pick 3 letters in the middle, but after, let's say, 4 characters or 4 digits. So that's where now you'll come and say equals to mid. Now, mid, this phone number, we need to pick 3 characters in the middle of every phone number, but we need to start from a position, because need will always ask you for a position. So now that's the position I was talking about. You can use search, you can use find, but here maybe we know a position that we need every number to start from 4. Then how many characters do we need? Maybe we need 4, because we need 4 pin character. So when I enter, so this is it. So which means I will generate data from the data that I already have. So when you get this, you'll find that they count 1, 2, 3, 4. They start from 4, they pick for you the 4 digits. Which means when you want to use this data to recreate some ID numbers or some specific numbers that should be attached to their mobile number, there you go. So that's how we use these 3 functions. I don't know whether we have any question from the team, but I would have liked to pick something from Odim, then we use it to actually, I always loved to use these numbers. Let's use these numbers here. Now, the challenge, this is only 1 plant. Now, when, let me increase font. Is my screen still visible? As if, is it visible on your end?
More letters. Expand or magnify.
Okay. I think first kill some services on my laptop. Just a moment. I think we are good now. Okay. Oh. Now, when you look at the way how they picked this Hodim number, I think today go and critically look at it. You'll always find that there was, they considered plant codes, only that I'm only having data for one plant. So you'll find that after the 4 characters, they considered plant codes and they considered which terminal is used at the weighbridge, but we may not dwell at that. But those who work at the weighbridge or who have used that I think you can tell. But now, how do you pick out that? If we say, let's pick out the first 4 characters, still it is the same thing. It will be equals to left. I think my laptop is lagging somehow. I may first cancel something. Just a moment, just pardon me for some minutes. Right then. I think this is fine. So, sorry. Here, when you're told to get, when you're analyzing data and you feel like you need to look at these delivery numbers or delivery notes critically and look out for what is definite to them, like what differentiates them from the other, you'll find that like 3-4 characters at the end makes them different from the start to around 6 or 7 characters are the same. So if you wanted to pick out what makes them different, is you'll either use a right. Anyway, I think, Susan, let me first.
Patient a little.
Thank you.
Okay. And he's back.
Susie,
Yeah.
maybe as is coming up online. Yesterday I was bringing it to our attention. If we can download the data that is under our operation, for example, for inbound, for outbound, that is cement, for the various reports that people do. And as we are doing, maybe today we can start. Yesterday, for example, we had a dim that inbound bit. I don't know if that one is possible, so that we jungle with the reports that we do.
Yeah, I will give him the different reports that we do. Then I will also get contribution from procurement, which kind of data they want to use, and we aggregate it. Thank you.
Because you saw how Twalib was asking that can we use ODIM, because that's what he interfaces with daily. So if you're using the information that he interfaces with daily, it is easier for him to jungle or at his end when he's making his own report. If you use inbound, someone is seeing, for example, the Mayakani or the TCI, or will be in a position to master, because that's what it's interacting with on a daily basis.
Sure, I get it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, he's still having challenges with his laptop. We could be getting feedback from the team if the pace is okay, whether we are picking anything.
Yes, the session is good. I'm picking. So for me, I normally use the mid search. Yeah, so I'm getting one original advanced one.
Okay. You can keep the questions coming in the chat. Whoever has questions, and even on the group, the WhatsApp group, when you're practicing, you can always raise.
Sorry, guys. Here I am. Hello.
Nathan, we don't hear you. But Sabit is back, so we can use the chat for the rest of the question we have.
So I had Nathan's suggestion, which is fine. I think, Susan, going forward, maybe we shall be getting that data for a session. Then we can review it before. You can send it to me, we review it. Then I see how I can inject it with a particular session we shall be running that day. So I want to do the last example on left, mid, and right. I'm going to use this data, which is already from ODIM. So when you
expand.
check, okay. There is a way I forget that I have Joseph in the background. I think Joseph, this is fine. This should be fine, right? Okay. Now, you see, you'll be given such data, or you'll have data which you are supposed to analyze, but you'll find that the tonnage was created just in the middle here. You see, this was the entry tonnage, this was the exit tonnage. Imagine that you didn't have these columns extracted for you, and you're meant at the end of the day to get the net weights. Then maybe you start the other analysis as you go. Now that's where the text functions come in handy. So we may not use the text functions on a daily basis, but you'll find at some point where you need them. Now, you'll ask yourself, how do I pick now this? How do I pick this? It is, shall we copy one by one as we put them in their separate columns? No, you'll not do that. For the data, you'll have like 10,000 rows. So if I say this is the entry, we are going to extract the entry, then we extract the exit. So, what do we have to search for this time? Can someone raise a hand maybe and tell me, how do we get the entry? What should we search for? Any suggestion?
For the gross weights a bit.
We search for the word gross weight. Remember, the entry is the one, the empty weight, or I should have called it empty. So for you to get the empty weight, it is all about.
It depends.
Sorry?
It depends, either inbound or outbound. So
Exactly.
either way, depending on what you are receiving, determines the entry or the exit.
Let me call this empty and this gross, such that it speaks to the data. So how should we search for this 24.34? How do we need to put it here? Can someone suggest using either left, right, or mid? Okay, let me go to gross. Gross may be easy for us to pick. How should we pick the gross?
We could use equals right for each function.
So because gross is already at the extreme end, it becomes easy for you to pick out the right function. So let's try it out. Equals right. Then this is the text. How many digits do we need? How many number of characters do we need?
6. Is it 5, 6? 5.
Any other suggestion?
5.
Yeah, it is 5. Why are we saying 5? Because the dot is counted as a character. So we shall do 5. We close and enter. So this is what we are getting. Do you know why you're getting this? Because if I'm learning my data, I will find that this data is given blank spaces here. So which we also don't know how many blank spaces there are. But the moment you know for the first one, it can help you to learn the others, which means that we have blank spaces which we need to get rid of. So which means if I increase this, how many are missing? The blank spaces are 2 at the end, which means here I should say 7, right?
Right.
Which means if I say 7, it will bring 57.66.
Sabiti, can't we remove the blank spaces by the formula as well? Yesterday we were going to data and deleting the blank spaces. Now, if we are just working on a certain row, can't we remove it?
Yeah, we can remove it. There is an option to remove this. There is another function which is called trim function, which we are going to just brush a bit, because I think it is part of our schedule. So we have learned that for you to get the last ones, the gross, you have to put 7, which means if I run this one up to the end, you see, I will have picked all the gross. But remember that this gross, you can't sum it because it is not yet a number. Why am I saying it is not yet a number? Because it is aligned on the left. You know, when I type here 57.66, it will always align on the right. I don't know whether you knew that difference. So the moment anything aligns on the left, that is not a number. It is a text, which means you can't use it. You can't add these. You can only count them, which means not until we remove the other 2 blank spaces, that's when we shall be able to call this one is a number. So how can I remove the 2 blank spaces? Someone else? The 2 blank spaces at the end, the ones we found at the end here, we have already got this solution. If we want to remove from this solution or from this column, how do you remove the 2 blank spaces at the end? How do you get rid of them? Which means now I'm going to use the left. So what you are doing here, you'll always use the text functions to clean data. And the first thing yesterday we talked about, when you do data extraction and you reach transformation, before you start doing any report, you have to make sure that your data is clean. This is part of cleaning. When you have numbers that are being looked by Excel as text, you can never use them in your analysis. So how can I make this one or remove only the 5, which means here I can come and use left. So when I start from the left, for this real text, I will do 5. And that it will give me, now this is a number, this is a text. How we get to know that is when we multiply either of them by 1. We shall go to that. Now, how do we pick the empty weight? How do we pick the empty weight? Here we shall automatically use the mid. The mid, this is our text, right? And where do we start from? Hello. Where do we start from? Okay. The
Longer.
starting.
It's a little bit longer because if the text is in that column, then you need to count the trackers weight in automatic. How many characters are there? The empty and the likes. It's a little bit longer.
Okay. Let's start from the first principles. What is the length of from here up to here? Because we are supposed to search for the word empty weight from here up to here. What is that length? So how do we get length? Let me first copy this word. Take it somewhere else on another sheet. This. So how do we count length of a word is equal to, we use the len function. I'm sorry we are jumping from one function to the other because I just want you to understand how they connect to each other. So when you use the len function, you click on the text, enter, it will tell you that empty weight with its blanks, with its spaces and the semicolon, it goes for 15 characters. You get? Now, when we come here on this sheet, you're cleaning data, you're trying to pick the entry weight, which means if I tell my mid, we are going to search for this. That's where we are going to start from. Then I tell it subtract 15. You get, which means when I subtract 15, I've told my formula that starts from where the word empty weight starts from. It will want to start from E here. But I already know in my mind that what I'm searching for, where I want to drop, there are 15 characters. Which means I will tell you start from here, but first remove 15, which means when I tell you first remove 15, you'll come and start from here. Then I tell you, give me 5 characters. You'll automatically give me the 5 characters. So let's do it here together. Equals to mid, open brackets. This is our text. Where are we going to start from? We said we search, right? Open brackets. What are we searching for? Our text, we shall have to put it in quotes. Copy the text the way how it is. I still have it on the clipboard and close it in quotes. It means we are telling Excel, you go where you find the word empty weight with all what we have included and the blank spaces. That's where we want you to start from. So you go and search for that. It will ask you, where should I search for empty weight? Still this text, right? Then now I can close the bracket. But when you select from search up to here, it will tell you that it is at position 58. Do you see that 58 that has appeared here? I don't know whether it is visible for all of us. It will tell you that, yeah, it will tell you that when we count from there, 1, 2, 3, like that, with all the blank spaces, by the time we reach here, it will be 58. So which means they have found this at space 58. Now, what next? Remember, I'm already aware that empty weight with its semicolons, it goes for 15 characters. Which means if I'm telling my Excel that please come and start from 2, 4, from here, which means I will command it subtract 58. Why did I tell you to? Why did I tell Excel to search for empty weight? Because it is the nearest word I can search for, and it is the word that is appearing in all. It is a common factor. That's why I want to use empty weight. So I will come here and subtract 15. But remember how we got the 15? It was a length of that. So you can get that aside when you're cleaning data for the other bulk number of rows you're having. So let's select this again. We see what position it is giving us. You see the position it is giving us? 43, which means there we are going backwards. In other words, here we are supposed
Why
not
is subtracting?
but we are adding, right? Okay, the question will come, why am I adding? Because the subtraction was a test. Why am I adding? I repeat it. Let's first complete this, then I will go back and show you why I added. Then I will say comma, the number of characters. We need how many characters? 5, because we know all our data is having 2 decimal places. So I will put 5, close brackets and enter. It will bring for me the 24.34. It has picked it right in the middle, which means if I drag this one downwards, it will do the same because I'm picking it right in the middle there. Now, let's go back to the basics. Those who maybe have not yet got it. First of all, I want to tell Excel to pick a number, but I have one common word I can use, which is starting from here to here. I couldn't use weight alone because even weight is here. You get, it doesn't become common. So that's why I'm starting from here up to here. So I'm telling Excel, you go and search the word empty weight. When you get the word empty weight, I know the word empty weight is 15 characters. Jump to 15 characters ahead, start from there, get for me the 5 characters. That's the narration of the formula. I don't know whether you get it, Joseph.
Come again.
So we want to pick empty weight, which is 24.34. It is right in the middle of our text. So what do? We look for a common factor, a common word we can use to search. So the common word we can use, we can start from here up to here. We can search for the whole of this, such that when I get where empty weight is, wherever row I am searching for, it means the next thing, there is a weight I need. But where does the weight start from? Which means when you tell Excel to search for you empty weight, it will start from here. It will tell you that I've found empty weight at this position. But I will tell Excel, again, if you have got empty weight, jump 15 steps, because I know from here up to here, there are 15 steps. Start from there, get for me the 5 characters. That's what we are telling Excel to do. So I repeat it again here. We start with equals to mid, because we are picking something in the middle. Where is our text? That is our text. Comma. Now, where to start from is the challenge. Remember the other time when we searched, we found that it was at 58. But this time we need to search for it. So I will say search. What am I searching for? Now they ask you, what text do you want to search for? I will open quotes, paste the text there because I still have it on my clipboard, which means you'll first copy it. Then after that, I do a comma. They will ask me within which text. It can be another text, not this. So still it is the same text, D2. I told you where to start from. This is optional. For now, we don't need to know where to start from because we're already searching. Excel has to search where it should start from. So the moment I do like this, let me not add a 15, then we see the difference. The moment I say comma and say I give me 5 characters, enter, it is going to give me the word empty. Do you know why it has brought the word empty? Because it has searched for empty weight, and this was the position it found. Then from here, it counted 5 characters. It brought for us the 5 characters. Why are we adding 15? Because we already know the length of what we are searching for, which is 15. That's why I'm adding 15, telling Excel, after you have got your search, jump 15 steps ahead, start from there. That's why I'm telling it, jump 15 steps ahead, start from there by giving me the 5 characters. So that's why we have to come on this formula. After searching for the empty, I will add 15 because our empty weight is at 15 position. So when we get that, we scroll down and there we go. So let's do the same with gross. I want us to do the same with gross. Let's not do, sorry.
I'm inquiring. What if we don't know the gross of 15 letters? What if you don't know it? Which formula are you supposed to use?
What if you don't know it?
Yes.
That is part of the formula you're building. You know, building formulas, we have been looking at singular formulas, but you'll reach a point where you're combining more than 4 functions to get out one formula. I think now this is part of the stage you have reached. You're asking yourself, what if I don't know that what I'm searching for is 15, which means now you'll have to bring, where we have put 15, you're going to put there a formula for length, then you get the length of this. So which means if I replace 15 with the formula, this one here, this. So where there is B40, it is the empty weight, which means when I copy the whole of this, copy and put it where there is B40, it means this has to be indirect. Anyway, I don't have to go that side. So, Talib, you're asking, what if you don't know it is 15? When we are searching, anything you use for a search and you don't want it to be part of your result, you have to remove it. It is like when they direct you that someone's home is opposite a gate to a certain school, but the word opposite is equivalent to the plus 15. Or someone's home or Twalib's home is 2 meters from this school, which means when you reach that school, you start subtracting the 2 meters or you add the 2 meters on your journey. That's what now we are doing. We are telling Excel, search for us empty weight. But when you get it, that's not what we want. Move 15 steps because what we want is 15 steps. It's the same thing the other person of the address, because that person didn't know the physical address to Twalib. That's why they used the physical address as the school. The same thing comes now to this. The physical address we have is the word empty weight. But the real location, move 15 points or 15 spaces or position, then you will get the gross or the empty weight you're looking for. I don't know whether now you understand it using that explanation.
Actually, maybe if I would again try to a little bit. The first thing is to search for a unique character. Let's say unique, let's say empty weight. After getting to know where the empty weight is, of course, we have it in there. And then you need to search for a number of characters from the start of the empty weight. They are 15. So after that, that is when you'll get now what you want, because from the start of the empty weight, first of all, you've identified the empty weight, you know where it is. Now you need to know how many characters are right from the start of the word empty weight to what you want, which is 15.
That's the right explanation, and I think you can take it like that. But it is from practice you'll perfect. Not every time you'll find the 15. Somewhere you'll find 7. Somewhere you'll find you're subtracting wherever. Now let me use another scenario. Maybe we can understand. I want to do it quick, but I don't want to leave when a large number of people have not understood it. Now, what if we search for the word gross weight? and we go backwards to pick these 5. Is it in position? Does someone think it is possible to do that?
Yes, it's possible when we use a search, and then somewhere we subtract.
Exactly. We subtract the number of letters gross has.
Yes.
Now, let's use another scenario. Still, we are picking the empty weight. Let's do mid. Then this is the text. Where do we start from? We search. We search. What are we searching for? I'm going to search for GRO. Only that, right? So when we get GRO, then we have to go backwards. Okay, after searching that, within which text, still this is the text. Now, when I close and comma, and I say I need 5 characters, let me first do it like this. We see what it is giving us. So you see, when you tell Excel search for the word GRO, it will search and it will find GRO here. This is the position, and you tell it, give me 5 characters, to automatically give you the 5 characters. But I want Excel, when it gets the position where GRO is, I want it to go backwards 5 steps, because it is now directing, but this is the wrong direction. When you tell someone, go to the other school, when you reach there, come backwards 2 meters. That's where the home is. That's why we are using the forward direction, or the forward searching, which means now on this, when you get the GRO, remove 5 steps. Why are we removing 5 steps? Which means we are going backwards 5 steps, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then I will stand here, then pick the 5. So when I do like this, actually there is a space between gross and this, there is a space, which means the characters are 6. So when you reach at G, then you start counting G, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then you step there, you count now the 5. Still you can do it, but that is a backward direction. That's why even in real life, you can't do that, that direction. You go, when you reach there, come backwards like 2 meters, that's where the home is. That's why maybe if you don't get a physical, if we can't get a common word to use, we have used GR, or then we go backwards. So I think that is it. Let's use the same scenario. We get the gross weight. I think I need someone now to spell for me the formula to use. What are we searching for? What are we adding? What are we subtracting? We are not using this time, we are not using the right function. We are using mid. So when you use mid, this is our text, right? Comma. We are searching for. What are we searching for? Anyone to pick something to search for? Even if you search for
with, yes.
We search for with yes. Here. Now searching for with.
We are searching gross weight.
We are searching gross weight. We want to search for something nearby. You get?
Yes.
Because when you search for with, again, it is like me telling you, reach Muvende, then after reaching Muvende, that is from Kampala, then move 100 kilometers, that's where change of my home is. You have not directed. Muvende was not necessary. That's why now with is not necessary if we are searching for 57.66. We have to use something that is nearby, such that you can easily jump to that position. So still I will go with, you can search even GR, only GR. You can search for GR. Then after searching for GR, I have to know from GR to this position, how many spaces are there? How many characters are there? Okay, let's go. I'm searching for only GR because GR is a unique identifier in all these statements. There is no GR anywhere. But if you think there is a GR somewhere, then it will give you a wrong data. So within this text, then close, then what should we add? What should we add? Can someone count and tell me what we should add? Because the word gross is 5 letters. The word weight
We
is
add
6
6 Sabiti.
You add 14.
We add 6.
Someone has said we add 6. Let me first add 6. Then comma. Then how many characters? Obviously, we need 5 characters. We close. Now, when you add 6, this is what you get, which means when you add 6, you have left this gross, you have added 6, you have started from here. You get? Then you bring this 8. But what you have to add should be gross 5, weight 6, this space, I don't know how many spaces are here. They should be like 2. Then the semicolons 1. So 6 plus 5, that is 11, plus the 2 spaces that are here, that is 13, 14, plus the 2 spaces that are here, 15, 16. So, which means here we shall have to add 16. Why are we adding 16? We are counting from where we directed someone to stand. Then we have told that person, move 16 steps. That's where you'll find what we need, of which we'll pick 5 letters. So when we enter, actually we did, it is supposed to be 15. So, which means from the word gross up to here, the whole of this up to here, it goes for 15 characters. So the moment you tell that there are 15 characters, then you're good. And this data, or the system where you extract this, will always be constant, which means you'll never have to bother how many spaces are there, how many semicolons are there. It is always a formula determined, and you'll always use it that way. Maybe when you find in ODIM, they have done some changes. So that's how we pick the gross weight and the empty weight, just using the mid function. Why we are skipping, or why we are leaving out the rate function? Because it was picking unnecessary spaces which were after the number we needed. So the moment you want to change these, if you want to change these to numbers, this is the trick you'll always do. Just multiply a 1 to your formula. Let's try it out. Because we have seen that this is a text. Anything multiplied by a 1 becomes a number. Anything when you add a 0, it becomes a number. Anything when you subtract a 0, it becomes a number. Just get it from today. The moment you have text, but you see they are numbers, but they're in form of text, these are the 3 tricks you should use. You should either add a 0 to your formula, subtract a 0 to your formula, or multiply it by 1. Because all what I have said, it leaves everything as how it was. So that's the trick you use. So when I come to this formula and I add a 0, let's try it out. You see what I've done? The moment I add a 0, it goes to the right, which means now it has become a number. Let me first scroll around 4. Now, when I select this, when you check down, this time it is giving me sum because they are numbers. But when I select this, it doesn't give me the sum because these are still text. So there are many tricks on how we can change data that is being looked as text to numbers. And I think there is one of our system which has such, I think either it is Hodim or Logon, where it always wants you to multiply by a 1. So let's use another trick now for this one. Let's add here, let's multiply here by 1. We multiply this by 1. So when you multiply by 1, it gives you the same thing, but it turns your character into numbers. Now, what is not going to work sometimes, that's why we are doing this hard cleaning. Coming and selecting these numbers that you go to change the format. Like you come here to format and you say change this to number. You see I've changed it to number, but nothing has changed. You get? which means that it is hard-coded, the system or Excel is hard-coding this to change it to a number. So that is the trick you can always use. Either add a 0 to your function, multiply a 1 to your function, or minus 0. So if we put here minus 0, it will still give us minus 0. It will still change it to a number. But you understand now, when we minus a 0, we are losing the decimal places, which you have to bring back. You get? So there are a lot of things we do in cleaning. It is all mastering and practice. You get data, you can't have a report run from that data because you have not cleaned it. So these are the steps we take in cleaning. So here we go. So you can go ahead and use the same trick to run up to the other side down, like that. So here it is giving us an error. Why? Because this was 5.4 exactly. Now, you see, because here we are picking 5 characters. Since this was a 5, there were 4 characters. It was not making 2 digits. Now that's where we come in to make in other changes after you have done a cleaning for such vehicles which were less weight. So which means here, instead of picking 5, we are supposed to pick 4. There you go, like that. So I don't know whether we still have, I know we have spent a lot of time on that, but it is all about what we get out from that. Any question on those text formulas? I know we have tackled many text formulas we have tackled even length. I've shown you how we do length. Length, it only gives you the number of characters that are being comprised of any text you choose. If I want to pick the length of these characters, I will say equals to length. Then pick that. It will give you that they are 9. Run it down, all of them are 999. So that's how length works. And I've already done it here for you when we are picking the length of empty weight. Then the next thing we are going to is trimming. Trimming is used for removing unnecessary spaces. Like we already had spaces here. I want to copy this, take it somewhere. Now, when you look at this text, it has unnecessary spaces. When you double click, it always breaks down. So you'll find that it has spaces or double spaces like here, of which this was meant to be a single space. So we are going to first get the length of what we have not yet trimmed. We shall trim it, then we get the length of what we have trimmed after. Then we see whether we are removing something. So what is the length of the whole of this text? The length of the whole of this text, there are 100 characters. There are 100 characters when you count one by one. Now, let's trim it. I'll say equals to trim. So when I say equals to trim, I'm trimming this text, close, enter. It will give you the same text. It will give you the same text, but we need to check, is the length still the same? Okay, here we shall say equals to length. This, enter. So you see the length has changed to 97. You know why? Because here we have double spaces. And trim function, in order, there has always to be one space. It is like when you're typing your paragraph and you put double spaces. Either Word or an email will always show you that there is an error because you have put double spaces. The same thing trim does. So if you're having data and you feel like it has extra spaces, you'll always use trim to clean it up. Then after you have cleaned it up, you can use it wherever you want to use it from. So if I put spaces here, and I entered the word Sabiti. So you'll see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112, 113, 114, 115, 116 Sabiti is, when I check the length of Sabiti, this, it will tell me the length of Sabiti is 11. But I know Sabiti is supposed to be 6. Why? Because you have extra spaces. It means that when you start doing your VLOOKUP, you'll never pick data for this Sabiti who has spaces. That's the purpose why you have to use trim when you're going to use a VLOOKUP of data you feel it has extra spaces. So when we go forward, like even when you do pivots, you'll find that the 2 Sabitis will appear in your report and someone will ask you, why are you having maybe 2 drivers with the same names? And for you, you'll not know, but you'll find that one of the driver was having either a blank space at the end or at the prefix or at the suffix, at the beginning or at the end. So even if I add here blank spaces like this, when I enter, the length will change. And now you'll ask yourself, how does Sabiti be 22 characters? Because they are blank spaces. So always when we are cleaning data, trim is also a function to look into. Then we have already done find. I've already shown you how we do search. So let me get some questions. Then we are going to use the 30 minutes for something else. Any questions from your end, guys? What we are doing here is, how do we clean our data? I know many people want to look at how do we create reports, how do we create dashboards, but we can't go there when you don't know the fundamentals. Why people say or fail to do data analysis or to analyze their own data is because you don't clean your data before you start using it. So any questions from your end? Then as you're asking, okay.
Sabiti, I've seen Twali putting there in the chat. And for him, he was relating to the demo details.
How can I remove the 10? This is a good example. So this, now, Logon has this, where a 10 actually stands for 10. 10 stands for when—
Expand, please.
I expand. Oh, sorry. I have to expand. Okay. So when you go to the Logon report, it will always give you order numbers with a 10 in front. But remember, at some point, you will want to do a VLOOKUP with the Logon or the Zonda report, maybe with an SAP report, which has the same order number. But you want to remove a 10 first. There are many ways of removing a 10, but we are going to focus on the formulas we have learned today. So how would we remove this? There are many ways. Can someone unmute and tell me how we start off this? There are many ways. We are going to look at many ways how we can remove this. So the simplest is what you go for when you're cleaning such data.
We can use right.
We can use right. You go with your right. What is the formula? How does it end? I click on the text for you.
Click on the text, then comma. 4.
You pick 4. Close, enter. It removes that. But
if you
remember,
pick 4, that means you'll have selected only the 10. And then
you
can click left. Yes, to remember that. Then now, that is exactly what I was just trying to give 2 things. That is right to remove the 10. Then the other one is left.
Okay.
Equals left D5. Then now it will give us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
8. Yes. There are always 8 characters. We go.
Yeah.
So there it will get for you always the order number that way. And the order number is a text, by the way. You don't need to change it to number. It is a text ideally. The ideality it is in the system, it is a text. So Twalib, I think now you get it. The easiest formula you can use is left, because you know that there is no Zonda order number that comes with 9 characters. There are only 8 characters.
Sabiti.
Yes.
The right formula confuses a bit. How do you get the 4?
The right formula here, the 4 is
Yes.
when you start from the right, you count the first bracket is 1. That is 1. The 0 is 2. The 1 is 3. Another bracket is 4. That's why we put a 4. That's when it removed the bracket 10. But this is not what we wanted. But what Joseph was trying to show us, in case you wanted to pick these 10s, because there is where you go, you find a 20. You know what a 20 means? A 20 means that order has two materials. It has like 5 tons of fundi and 15 tons of multipurpose. When you find a 3, it means that this order has 3 items. It has maybe 5 tons of fundi, 10 tons of multipurpose, WPP, and maybe other 15 tons of maybe Power Max. That's why you always find a 3. Now, you can use this. When you scroll this down, this one can help you which orders are having 3 items, which ones are having 2 items, because also it is a requirement at some point. But for this purpose, we are looking, I know Twalib was looking out, how do I pick the order numbers? But when you go to the other instance of, if they ask you, can you go to the system and get for us all the orders that came in with more than 1 item? This is the way how to get it. You'll always find this bracket. The number in this bracket will tell you how many items were on that order. So I think that is it. Now, someone else use another formula. Do you know that we can also use the mid? And we say this text. And we say where it should start from. Where should it start from? From position number 1. How many characters should it bring for us? 8 characters. And it will give you the same number. You get? So the mid is a general for all, because for it, you can use it for left, you can use it for right, you can use it even for itself in the middle. So long as you tell it position start from number 1, this time I'm not searching. I know you have to start from number 1. So if you are searching anything, then we have already done that. You go ahead and search.
Is control find also a formula, or that one is for analog?
Control find is, it is here. Control
yeah, you find and replace all the brackets 10 with nothing.
Exactly. We always have to look outside the box. Yeah, like how Tina has done. So when you come to this, I'm going to put it separate. For Tina, I will put it separate here. And I've selected that, which means you'll do control find on your keyboard. I will do it here for visibility for everyone that we have done it. Now, what are we finding? We are finding bracket 10 bracket, right? We are replacing it with nothing. Then I will tell it, you know, there are these options we don't look into, but since I want to just deal with this data, I will come here within a sheet or within a workbook. When it is always on a workbook, it will go in all the sheets and do the same, of which you may not want that. So here I will go ahead and say replace all. It has replaced. Now the challenge with what Christine comes in with, which means you'll also have to do for 2. Because you are dealing with data with, let's say, 1,000 columns, you don't know whether the 2 is there. You replace all, it will tell you I have not found that. You also go to 3. You say replace all. So you'll do it like 3 times for you to make sure that you have your data aligned. But when you use the find, you will find that you get it now that it changes these order numbers to numbers. They are no longer text. It means that this and this, ideally, they are not the same, because these are numbers because they are aligned on the right. These ones are text. Even if I expand this, they are text because they are aligned on the left. But ideally, the system looks at this as a text, because it is not a number that tomorrow we are going to sum or we are going to average. It is just a text as how it is. So, Christine, you can also always go for that. Then another option, by the way, it can also be like this. You go to data, then you go to find text to columns. It will bring for you a dialog box. Since I've already selected this, then I will tell it use delimited. Then I go to next. What is our delimiter here? Our delimiter is the bracket, right? So, which means I will come to other and put here bracket. We open the bracket. You see it is putting the bracket on another sheet, on another column. You go to next. It will tell you, should we replace this? If you want to transfer your data to another point, you can click here and take it to another point. But I want it to replace here because I don't have time to create other columns. So I will do finish. And then it will subtract this aside and remain with your numbers. That is another option. That is called text to columns. It is in data. There you have not used the formula. And I know people who have dealt with the logon data, you know this. So I think there are many ways on how you can kill a rat, but at the end of the day, clean your data. It is all about—
Can you use, are you able to use trim direct?
The trim, remember, it is looking at spaces. It may not work for you here because we don't suspect any spaces here that are extra spaces. Trim looks at spaces. In case you feel like there are spaces there, you can go ahead and trim. You can go ahead and trim your data that you have already extracted to make sure that it is clean. Let's say I will say equals to trim. The moment it doesn't find the spaces, to bring for you the same number like this. But it is just being sure that I have not left their spaces. So trim for it is basically for spaces. I will send a document that gives explanation and notes for these, for all these formulas. But I wanted us to go through the practical bit of it, then the reading, we can do it later. So
I have a question, Chris.
Please go ahead.
This thing you said of when you use Control F, the data changes from text to what? To numbers. When you're using, let me say, VLOOKUP, does it matter if the numbers are being read as text or numerals?
Okay, here we go. I'm going to put two scenarios here. I think it is time we go to VLOOKUP. Let's go to VLOOKUP and look at it with the question Tina has asked. You see this data, I will give it a different color. Let me give it a faint color here. This data, also I give it a different color, right? Now, I'm going to put here random wordings or names. Actually, let me pick some data this side. Let me pick track numbers here. We assume that these track numbers did these orders, right? Like that. Now, we are assuming that you are in another report. You want to pick the track number that was corresponding to that order number. Here we do a VLOOKUP, right? We are going to do a VLOOKUP together, guys. Let me remove it from the line of the data we have, put it aside. Here, like this we go. Now here we are going to do a VLOOKUP, we pick the track number. So, and this is the data we have, maybe from some system. So we have to use VLOOKUP here, we pick the numbers for every order, the track numbers. I'm using only 6, but they may be 1,000. So we do equals to, actually, let's do VLOOKUP, just be attentive. VLOOKUP works like this. Now, before I go very far, this is how VLOOKUP works. VLOOKUP is when you go to the restaurant, they give you a menu. Now, this is our menu. Now, the menu is having order numbers. The track number is maybe the price. Let's call it the price of the item you're going maybe to order for. What you always do, your eyes will always first read through your choice. When you find matoke here, you will pass your eyes on the right to check for the price. That's what they call VLOOKUP. It goes downwards, then you go on the right. That's the same thing we are going to do here. We shall do equals to, VLOOKUP. Now, VLOOKUP, they're asking you, what is your lookup value? Your lookup value is what are you going to search for? No. What are you going to use to search? We are going to use this number. In that data, it is the reference we are going to use. That's our value, a lookup value. Comma. What is your table array? I will go and select my table array. My table array is this. My table array has 2 columns. That's why they are showing you here, it is 2 columns. So this is column number 1, this is column number 2. When we come to Excel, this is index number 1, index number 2. Index in Excel means the position of something. When your position number 10 in class, I will say you have taken index number 10, which means your position number 10. Now here, column number 1, column number 2, this is index number 1, index number 2. Now, this is our table array. Yesterday we looked at this. To keep your table in a stable condition, you have to, without changing, you have to lock it. We talked about locking references or locking cells, locking ranges. You press F4 on your keyboard. It will lock your range. That range is locked. Comma. Now they're asking me, what is the column index number? What you want to pick? At which position, which column does it stand in? You have to count columns from your lookup value range. This is our lookup value. This value we are using is in this column. So we start from here counting to the right. VLOOKUP works counting to the right, not to the left. So we shall count to 1, 2, which means our index column we are looking for is 2. Then they're asking us, do you need us to approximate for you or you need us to bring the exact value? Obviously, everyone will say, I need exact value. That's why you'll always find people typing here false or using a 0. False and 0, they are the same in programming or Excel. 1 and true, they are the same. So it is rare for us always to use a 1 because we always want to pick the exact value. So I will close brackets and enter. Here it is telling me not available. Now, we are going to copy the same formula. Yesterday I told you when you want to copy the formula, you go and copy it from the formula bar. Copy it, enter in that. Now we are going to put the same formula here. You get? But we need to change this to lookup now from here. I told you yesterday there are 2 options. Either removing this and clicking on this or dragging this with your keyboard and bringing it here. You see it has changed this to I-19. So our reference, the range is still the same. We want column 2, we enter. For this case here, we have picked a number. Here we have picked not available. Even if I run all of them, they will pick not available. If I run downwards, I will pick all the numbers. Do you know what has happened? In the other table, we are looking up our values. We have this logo number as a text. And here you have the logo number as a number. You get? That's why you are not, Excel is not seeing this. Because for it, it knows that the other side, it is a text, this is a number. They are different things. That's why when we are cleaning data, you have to put this into context. When you reach to do such VLOOKUP, such analysis, you'll end up getting not available. You trouble the whole day, but this is the simple trick you have. Now,
Sabiti, just multiply this by 1 and we see if it automatically picks.
Now,
without removing the formulas.
By 1.
No, the one.
No, F.
The one
F,
on
yes.
top, eh?
Yes. The text.
Yes. There was a formula, right? So I'm going to multiply this by 1. Enter. So the moment I multiply by 1, this one gets the value, this one loses the value. Because now the other one has become a number, this one is remaining at the text. So it is always up to you whether your data to always change it to numbers, or to leave it as a text. Then since because since you're still using the three systems, SAP will always give you these values either as number format. So it is always healthy to convert your orders in the Zonda report to numbers, and your order numbers from the Hodim report to numbers, such that it is all throughout. Like it is your habit to always change everything to numbers. Multiply by one period. Never bother which is text, which is numbers, so long as you have it right that it is a number. I wanted to show it to you here, but since we have reached it, then now we can look at it. When you go to Excel and find this green error balloon, it means that Excel looks at this to be a number, but your system brought it as a text. So it is asking you here, should we convert it to number or we should ignore? You get? So it is up to you. So when I say convert it to number, it will automatically convert it to number and it will drop the 0. So you should always note these errors in your data. So this is the same thing, multiplying this by 1. Now someone may ask me, if we don't have a formula, how can I multiply them by 1? This is how you do it. So let's say we want to multiply this data by 1. Where it is seated, we don't want to create another column. We want to multiply it from where it is seated. Select it, copy it, go to paste special here. It will bring for you this dialog box. It may be different from mine, but it will be the same values. You come here and say multiply by 1, but you have to first put a 1 somewhere. So you have to choose in your Excel, put a 1 somewhere. This is a 1 because you are going to multiply, then copy that 1. Then you come and select what you want to multiply this. Remember, we have copied the 1 the other side. So you come to paste special like this. Then we multiply. When you click multiply, you are telling Excel, what I copied, which was a 1, multiply it with these numbers I've selected. That's what it means. So when I say multiply and OK, it will multiply and it will bring them on the right. You have not hassled with creating another column to change, but you have done it in there. So you can always use that trick to multiply your data by 1. So I can always select the whole of this. I will copy my 1. I can put my 1 in the middle here. I can put the 1 somewhere here, copy this 1. But I've not said that you distort your data because you want to correct the other side. Copy that 1. You can select the whole column, but selecting the whole column, it may create errors for you in the blank columns down because to create them as numbers. Select the whole of this. Yesterday I told you, Control-Shift down arrow, it selects up to the end. So you go to paste special. Here we go. And remember, we are multiplying by a 1 which we copied, this one. So when you multiply by 1, are we getting anything? Yeah, it has multiplied by 1, but oh, it was refreshing. So here we go. It has changed them to numbers. Someone else may say that, but you told us also a 0 can work. Let's put a 0. We see whether we add a 0. It can change this to numbers. Okay, come to this, come to your 0, copy it. Come select the column or the numbers you want to convert to numbers. Go to paste special. Then this time we are not multiplying by 0, but we are adding a 0. You can add, you can subtract, whichever you want. When we add a 0 or subtract a 0 from any text that looks to be a number, it will convert it to a number. So the moment I add a 0, there we go, it automatically changes them to numbers. So which means now yep.
I have a question. If I don't remember those steps and I just select the first cell, I say equals, then this number times 1, and I enter and I drag up to down. I drag.
You know there what you'll have done. This is what you'll have done. Let's work.
Go back to the village. You're going to scroll up to under the table.
Not scrolling. You double click. You double click on the first cell.
I understand what Tina is talking about. Let's use now the material number. Tina, what you're talking about, it means that that position you're in, you have to first create a column here, a blank column, and you call it now, this is my material upgraded. Then you say equals to this times 1. That's what you'll do. It will change for you this. When you double click downwards, it will change the numbers. Now you have another step. You can't have 2 material IDs in one report. You have to get rid of 1. But the moment I get rid of this, I will lose this because there is still a formula, which means you have to select this, first copy it and paste them as values to remove the formula, right? So when you paste it as value, which means the formula is no longer there, then you can go ahead and delete this. You know how many steps we have done? A lot. So it is always better for someone to say
not a lot, only 3, not a lot.
So long as
Brian.
So long as it is plural. Now, the best thing always is put a 1 somewhere. It can be even on another sheet, which is this, or you can put there 0, depending on which you want to use. If you don't want multiplication, you can do addition or subtraction. But I gave you a 1 and a 0. I think. Yeah.
So what if I use that thing that appears on the number and I just convert to number without going through all the formulas? And
someone is saying yes. What if you select all of them like this, right? And you come on the first one, this one, and you say convert all to numbers. Do you know what this one is going to do? It is going to convert 1 by 1 in the background. If Hakim gave you a laptop that is not strong enough, your Excel is going to hang and it may even close and you lose the data. Because when you do this, it is going to work for the few. But when you have a large sum of data, or you have bulk data you're dealing with, more than 100 rows, I can maybe say 100. We always use those simple tricks. Don't go for this. This one can work for when you're dealing with 5, you can change, you can convert them to numbers, you see. But the moment you're dealing with many, there is time lag there. The moment I add the other one, and I come to this and I say now convert, there is a time lag, though it works. But imagine that this report was running for 3 months. We are going up to, let's say, millions of them. The moment you get your data refreshed and converted to numbers, it is going to spool here for long, and Excel will tell you that it closed unexpectedly. By the time you open it again, things you have done in 20 minutes, you can no longer recover them. But you can always get whichever easiest way you can use, but put those into caution, that if you're dealing with much data, use the other tricks that can easily capture the changes with much data. So I think that is it. Now we are doing VLOOKUP here. We understand what VLOOKUP is. I want to show you another way how we do VLOOKUP. Now, another way how we deal with formulas is this, before maybe we leave the code. So we can convert all these to numbers by putting our 0 somewhere. Now, Janice, now if we don't have the balloon, the error balloon like here, you can't use that option of yours. So at some point you will get fixed that you'll have to use an option which you were skipping before. So here I will put a 1 somewhere. And here we already have a formula actually. I just multiply 1 in a formula. Then we are putting a 1 somewhere when you don't have a formula in that data, like the data we saw the other side. So you see now everything here has been lost and here it is. Now, another option of doing VLOOKUP is this. If you are not well conversant with the syntax of equals VLOOKUP, lookup, you click on this, you click on this, there is this option. Always go to formulas. You go to where VLOOKUP lies. Where does VLOOKUP lie? If I can ask. In all these, there is logical, text, data and time, lookup and references, math and trigonometry and others. Where does it lie? As we run out of time, where does it lie, please? Okay. So VLOOKUP lies in the lookup references here. There are many, but you look for the VLOOKUp. Here it is. So the moment you always come this side in the formula functions and click on VLOOKUP like this, it will always bring for you a dialog box like this. I know you'll have the dialog box on your end, but it may be different, but it will be having the same steps. Then here it just asks you, what is the lookup value? You click on it. What is the range? You go and select the range. What is the column index? Index number 2. What is the range lookup? We want 0 because we want it exact. At the end of the day here, it gives you that this is going to be your result. Before even you do done, it shows you that what you have done on top, this is your result. Say I will also do done, and there we go. We already have this. When we check the formula, Excel has written for us the formula. The challenge is it didn't lock the range, which you can go back and lock by pressing F on your keyboard. Why do we lock? Anyone who can tell us why we lock?
Rachel, because yesterday she told us she understood the reasons.
Why do we look for this case? Okay, let me first drag it down. Then we shall see the errors, then we know. Anyway, it is working, but because of our data being low. Why do we lock, Rachel? In case you got it right.
Yeah, so that our information doesn't shift. Our parameters don't shift.
Let me drag it down, then I show you why we lock, guys. So when I double click here to look at the formula, you see where the range is. The range moved. As we are dragging down, even the range was moving one step downwards. That's why here, when you're putting your formula, you have to lock the range. Locking the range, select and press F on your keyboard. If you have enough time, you can put the $sign, but it is always F on your keyboard, just a single button press. There we go. So this time when you do that, you see that the range is intact. It has not moved than when it moved when we didn't lock. So there are two options how you can do VLOOKUP. You can do just entering the formula using the syntax, or you can go directly this side in the formula tab. You pick VLOOKUP, then it will direct you what to do. Actually, when you pick it from that side, something I've not shown you. I think as we conclude the call, I see it is already time. So here, it will always give you explanation. That's why I told you that if you want explanations to these formulas, go to your Excel. You'll find there everything. So it will give you here, this is the syntax. You have the lookup, you have the table array, you have the column index, and you have the name range. It is explaining them here very well. Let me expand. Is it expanding? Okay. So here it gives you the explanation that the lookup value is the value to be found in the first column of your table. What is the table array? The table array is the table of the text numbers or logical values in which data is going to be retrieved. It explains to you what it means. The column index is the column number in the table array from which the matching value should be returned. What is the range lookup? Is the logical value to find the closest match or the exact. That is true and false. So is there any question on VLOOKUP, or we need to have more examples for us to get it right?
Yes, Abeti.
Yes.
I wanted like you try when these columns are not very close, like you put this one of the numbers to D.
No, that one is simple. Let me do like this, VLOOKUP. Now, I'll go to Hodim data. We already have these numbers here, right? The SAP numbers. Let me take these numbers. No, let me take the logo numbers, then it will give us the SAP numbers. Okay, I'm taking the logo numbers. So I'll take a sample of them on another sheet, right? Here we go. I will expand as usual, like this. Now, we want to pick the SAP number. Then at some point, I will need to pick the track number. Let me do it like that. Let me skip to that extent. Now, you'll start here VLOOKUP. I've told you can go ahead and use the other option of picking from this side. So go to the formula. If you haven't mastered how to type VLOOKUP yourself, you can always go this side. It will give you the prompts. So pick the VLOOKUP. Here it is. What is the lookup number? It is this order number we start with. Then we go to the table array. Now the table array, since I want SAP number and track number, so SAP number is here and track number is this side, which means if I'm to pick my table array, I must start from C to K, right? So it is very healthy for you to select the columns like this. Even if you select up to the end, so long as what you want are already put into consideration. So we want to pick column number 2 for SAP, then column number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Number 9 for the track numbers. So which column are we picking here for the SAP? Column number 2, right? Let me bring it here now. Then what is the index? The index we are going with 0. It already shows me that, by the way, this is the number you're going to get. So I will set done and it will pick. Obviously, this one will remain for any other formula you want to do. So I will drag this downwards like this. Since I used columns which are not referenced with cells, I don't need to lock because they are columns. But if you had cells here, like you selected this a certain range, you have to lock it. So it has picked for me the SAP number. So let me take one SAP number. We find whether it is this. Let's try out to test ourselves. Yes. Not something is not right. Anyway, let's first check for the one that has 84. 09, whether it is the one with 84. So when we come this side, 09 is this, and this is 84. I think there we are good to go. Now, we are now picking the track number. You can use the same formula like this. You copy the same formula. Since the range is going to be the same, you come click here, you go in the formula bar. That's where you have to paste the formula from. Then instead of now column number 2, which column are we bringing? Column number 9, right? It is the one that is having the track number. There we're going to pick for you the track numbers that are in relation to that order number. When I double click downwards, sorry. There is, okay. Let me drag this. Now there is something that is locked in my. Any question as I unlock this? Any question from your end?
There was a question in the chat about the same thing. When you double click and the drop down doesn't go down.
Because I used the other box, which is stuck in the background. Just a moment, save. Close this now. The question was, if you run a formula, let's first go back this side. let me use this side here. I'm getting a problem with my sheet. It's having something that is not closed. Okay.
Susan, the silence is normal.
Sorry, my PC is again hanging, but someone was asking that if you've put the formula and you don't, yesterday we said that you don't have to scroll downwards, right? So what you have to do is you move your cursor to the first formula you'll have put. Let's put the formula again. Here we go. VLOOKUP. Select the lookup number, which is this. Select the table array. We go to for dim. Select, you even can select up to the extreme end. So long as we know what we want is at number 9 and the number 2. Then what is the column we need? Column number 2. What is the lookup range? The range lookup is 0. Then we said done, and there we go. Now, the challenge now I'm having is the other dialog I used is locking my sheet, which is not right. Okay. So you're supposed, when you come to this formula, you're supposed to get a black cursor. The cursor should change black. So when you double click on that, it has to drag downwards. For me now, it can't because the sheet has locked. But I think we did that yesterday. So this one now I can't drag. The only thing I can copy downwards the formula like this. So the same thing you do it with the track equals to VLOOKUP. We said that you can go ahead and copy the same formula. Copy like this. You come to this. You change now the 2 to 9 because everything is the same. It's just the column number that is changing. So I can't double click, but for you, you'll be having a black cursor here. So the moment you double click, it will run up to down. But for me, I'll just copy the formula. If you want to copy the formula, the shortcut is when you select the first formula and you drag up to down, wherever you want it to end, you draw a Control D. It will copy the formula to the empty cells you have done. Let's see if you do like this, Control D, it will copy the formula to those cells. So that's another way how you can deal with copying the formulas downwards. So that's how we deal with the VLOOKUP. I know some of them we are rushing through them because we are going to use them when we are doing the real reporting. So it is all about you to understand the syntax. We may not explain much the theory behind these formulas, but you can go ahead and do the reading yourself. So I don't know whether there is any query on your end. You can raise your hand, but we're already above by 10 minutes. I need to leave people to go because it has been a hectic day. And
Abid may have one.
Sorry?
I have one.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for this session. I remember the first time I used the VLOOKUP, it was like a party. I didn't know anything, but it's all about practicing. I don't know that it is possible from your side. I don't know whether this training is fixed that once you finish the days of the training, we can't contact you, we can't access you. But
for now,
yes.
For now, the access you can drop anything. Actually, these are the insights now I need to come from that group, WhatsApp group. Like you can put for us a screenshot. This is what I've been doing. I'm getting stuck here. I think I just need it to be interactive. People will always come and advise you on what to do, just to have the feeling that we understand what we got from a certain session. Then it is not bad to inbox me, but I don't want you to send me inbox, because I will want also the other people to understand the question, because when you ask, someone will, there are some people who may not even know which question to ask, but they wanted the answer. Like they wanted the output, they don't know how to ask it or how to format it. So it is always right to bring it on the group. Then if there is any arrangement, it will be after this arrangement is done. I don't know whether I've answered you, but we can use those options for now. I may not say that you call me because all the 43 people are going to call me one by one. I may not make it. That's why we need to use that group, because even if I'm not there active, someone can come in and give you a response, depending on how he has understood your error you've got on your end.
Yeah, because I was looking at the situation, because most of us maybe don't use such formulas. But if I am to use it and I've forgotten maybe somewhere, and maybe the sessions or the training were done, is it possible now to access you? Is it on free cost, or is something?
Geoffrey,
bring some light. Bring some
shall-
light, yeah. This data, Jeffrey, the reason as why we are recording it and we are putting it on that drive where we are all have access. You can go back and review the video so that you can take time to understand this. That's how Excel works, and that's why we are making these recordings. I remember when we used to do it one-on-one with Sabit, still I would record and I would go ahead and do the review on the video. So just make use of the video, the steps, then you practice, you will get better. Because that gentleman is a consultant, is so a little bit engaged most of the time during the time. So, but we shall be on the platform to support each other as well.
Thank you, Joseph. I think I will request, do we have any question that needs to be recorded, or we drop our recording? But if there is any question, just drop it in 1 minute as we close off. Otherwise, Susan will go ahead and prepare for us the video. I know it will download on her end to that drive, such that we can access it at any point we are doing the practice. But the videos are going to be very many. You better start the practice now. Just get data and play with it with all the functions we have dealt with. That's when you will get them. The moment you make it a sleepover, in 3 days, you'll not be remembering what we did in session 1, because a lot is coming. I think that is it from my end. I will let you to have a good night. In case there is anything I need to give attention to, you can drop it on the group. I will be there to give feedback. Otherwise, have a good night.
Okay, thank you, Sabiti.
Welcome.
Okay.
Thank you, Chris. Have a good night, team.
Yes, I'm beating.
Bye.